All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Okay, guys, so Bitcoin is seeing a bit of a dump here after taking out yesterday's highs. You can see here we kind of had a double top of yesterday's highs. Uh, let's see, did we actually yeah, we barely took them out, like a very slim SFP of yesterday's highs. And now we are dumping to the downside, coming down and taking out, actually coming down to our value area high of our range that we have been in for about a month now. So let's look at this range that we've been in for a month, this upper range that has been really above, most of it has been above the macro value area high of the large 6-month range. That's about it's about 106,500. So let me go ahead and turn on that macro range. Let me turn off the small range. And you can see this macro value area high was the range that we tried to break out of the range, saw a failed auction of the all-time highs, broke back down under that range, rejected on the bearish back test, and then came and took the range lows, which was very important. We took the liquidity of the range lows. After taking that liquidity, we were able to not only push back up and back test that value area low, but we were able to break back above it, which is a very bullish sign that all Bitcoin was doing was seeing a correction to take out our range lows, the liquidity of our range lows, to stop out those late longers that have longed in the past month, and then to continue to push to the upside. Now, it's a bit tricky here because on Coinbase, if we pull our Fibonacci from the all-time high down to those lows that we made, those range lows, and we turn on the 886, let me change the color on this too so you guys can see this a bit better. We'll make it yellow. On Coinbase, we barely front ran the 886 by like a few dollars. Very slightly front ran that 886. Now, in a larger uptrend, which we have been in a larger uptrend since April, since 74K, if you make a corrective move here, like this correction to the upside after this dump, and you hit the 886, it does make it more probable that you're going to take out the highs from where that fib was pulled from. In this case, it's the all-time high. Now, Coinbase front ran it by just a few dollars, but Bybit did hit that 886. So it's a bit of confusion here on some of the exchanges. Some of the different exchanges rejected for exactly from that 886. Some of the exchanges front ran that 886 just by a few dollars. But we are seeing a bit of a range over the past few days here. Let's see, since Monday, now it is Wednesday, for 3 days now, we have been in a range above the value area high of our smaller range. So let's turn off the macro range and let's look at our smaller range that we've been in for a month. We've been in this range since May 8th. So yeah, a little bit over a month now. We've been in this upper range. And you can see that even on this range, we broke above the value area high. But the other day on Tuesday, when we were coming down, I did say in my videos, I wanted to backtest, to bullishly backtest that value area high to confirm a flip to support, to continue to push up higher to break the all-time highs. Well, we had front run that bullish backtest. You can see we didn't quite get in there. Let me turn off this channel here so you guys can see this better. And I'm now going to delete that 886 just to get that out of the way. And I'm going to delete this to get it out of the way. But we had front run the bullish backtest of that value area high on Tuesday and made another push up, hitting a local 886. Again, not on Coinbase, or let's see, was it on Coinbase? One of the exchanges, we did hit the local 886. So it was on Coinbase. We hit even the local 886, which now also gives us a higher probability to come take out Tuesday's highs, or Monday's highs, Monday's highs. So we have the probability to very locally come take out Monday's highs. And then we also have a bigger probability to take out the all-time high, but that's a bit confusing because the Coinbase exchange did not hit the macro 886, the more macro 886. So after seeing a bit of a drop yesterday, making a higher low, we pushed up this morning on some bullish CPI news, and we had taken yesterday's highs. We had a SFP. It's a very slim SFP that I just showed you guys, but it was an SFP of yesterday's highs. And now we are coming down to finally backtest that value area high. This value area high right here is going to be a key level to hold. If we do not hold this 108.2, it's a little bit lower or a little bit higher on Bybit. On Bybit, it is at where we're at right now, 108.350-ish, 108.400 actually. So between 108.200 and 108.400 is the value area high of our last months range. Now, just like we saw, let me go ahead and turn off this smaller range now, and we can look at fractals of what's happening. So I'll turn off the smaller range. I'm going to turn on the macro range. This is the last 6 months. You guys can see that we came up to the value area high. We found some consolidation right below the value area high, broke above it, and then for a few days, we saw a range form above the value area high, but saw a failed auction and dumped back within the volume profile and made new lows. Well, if we look at what is happening right now, just on a smaller fractalized level, let's turn off the macro range and let's turn on the small month-long range. You can see the same exact thing is happening. We busted above. We're forming a little bit of a failed auction type price action above the value area high. Now, if we do break back inside the value area high, we can expect to kind of come down and make some new lows locally. We have taken out the range lows from the last from yesterday or from Monday night. I think that was, let's see here. This was on, yeah, Tuesday. That was Tuesday morning. So we just SFP's the 3-day range lows, this micro range here. We just SFP'd the range lows and finally bullishly back tested the value area high. So if Bitcoin is going to remain bullish and finally come up and take out not only Monday's highs, but maybe even the all-time high, this back test right now is going to be very, very important to hold. If we do not hold this back test at around 108.2, then Bitcoin could drop a bit lower here to back test once again the macro value area high. So let's go ahead and show that. If we turn on now, I'll leave the month-long range on the chart, but I'm going to turn on that macro range. And that macro range value area high is coming in. Let me make sure this is pulled all the way to current price action. This is on the Coinbase chart. Yeah, the macro value area high is coming in right around 106,500. And you can see our anchored VWAP from the all-time high is also coming in right around 106.5 to 106.7. So if we do not hold 108.2, we could see a quick flush down to 106.5. Now, if we do break underneath 106.5 again, let's go ahead and, no, I want to leave the macro range on. I want to turn the small range off. You can see on the larger range, the 6-month range, the range from all of 2025, we had the failed breakout of that range and broke back inside of it and made new lows. Now we have another attempt to break out of this range and to break up into new levels of price discovery for Bitcoin. If we do lose our small range macro value area high that is of this past month, then I do suspect that we will break down at least to bullishly backtest our macro range value area high again around 106. Now, if we break down here and we bounce, this still could be very, very bullish. You do expect to see pullbacks after hitting 886s. So we hit the 886 on Monday. You could pull back very easily to backtest that macro value area high and then continue up to your next levels of resistance. If we do fall back within the volume profile a second time, after a second failed breakout of the macro value area high, if we fall underneath 106,500, we could see a much bigger move down, possibly all the way down still to that 96.5, 97K area, where you can see the bottom of the pitchfork is coming in, the anchored VWAP is coming in, and our point of control is coming in. So Bitcoin really is at a key decision point. It is a Wednesday. We still have a couple days of trading days left in the week, but it doesn't look too hot here as far as our money flow and indicators. I was giving some warning signs yesterday that we were starting to see some bear divs on the chart here. And if we zoom in, especially on the 15-minute chart, this 15-minute money flow just looks really bad. And we were seeing, let me go ahead and pull this up a bit more so that you guys can see this, and I will just bring it out showing this area here. So as we were coming up and breaking above our macro value area high at 106,500, we were making higher highs on the price action, but we were making lower highs on our momentum waves. Now our money flow still looked very, very strong. So we were expecting to continue up even though there was some bear dips. But now our money flow has not only started diving down, turned into the red, came back up into the green, and we are forming a bit of a sideways range here. with some continued bear divs. Now these aren't bear divs per se because we're not making higher highs on the price action on these momentum waves, but they're bearish trigger waves after our initial bearish div and our money flow topping out has come in. And so it is a bit of a concern here that we could start to see some bigger dumps to the downside. If we zoom out onto our 4-hour chart and we look at our 4-hour chart here, money flow is now aggressively coming back out. We were seeing some bear divs print on this push up since, what was that, since last Thursday. This push up here, bear divs on NAMI, and money flow has topped out and has started rolling over on the 4-hour. So we're really at a key decision point here for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin doesn't hold 108.2, then I do think we are going to drop to 106.5. And if we don't hold 106.5, then Bitcoin is probably going to come a lot lower. Now, I would like to discuss some other local levels of support that we could look at on the chart. So let's turn on our month-long range, and you can see, and let me turn off the macro range to get confusion out of the way here. Let me go ahead and also pull this back down. So in our, let me do 2-hour time frame. In our last month-long range of price action, you can see that our lows from taking the liquidity of the range low around 100 point, what was that, 100.7. We took our range low, liquidity of those range lows, and we made a very strong move up, pretty much a $10,000 move to the upside. So if we take our Fibonacci from the lows of last week to our highs that we made on Monday and we pull our Fibonacci, you can see our 786 level is coming in right around the value area low of that range. And it is also going to be, by the time we get down there, it's going to be in pretty close alignment with our pitchfork band that we did front run last week. You can see here we did not actually come down and touch that pitchfork band last week to actually confirm a flip to support. We did confirm some flips to support in this area here, but I would like, if we do lose 106.5, which is right around this anchored VWAP here, right around this area, if we lose 106.5, we could see a quick flush down all the way down to the value area low. Now, if we look at that same Fibonacci pull and we look at the golden pocket as well, you can see our golden pocket is coming in above the point of control of that range. And to me, that is a bit concerning that the point of control is coming in below our golden pocket, because if we break our golden pocket, then we do have a higher chance of not holding the POC and coming down to the value area low. If we go onto the Bybit chart here, you can see on the Bybit chart, there's a couple things that I'm looking at here. So let me first go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff. So very, very locally, of the move up, the $10,000 move up we've seen over the past week from the lows to the highs, our macro 382, which often acts as support or resistance in a strong trend, often will bounce you. So if we lose 108.2, we can expect a drop down to backtest the macro range value area high, which is at that 106.5. 106.5 to 106.7. And that area is also where our 382 is. So if Bitcoin is going to remain bullish, which we did hit the all-time high, or we did hit the 886 from the all-time high. So we should expect, we should have a little bit of a bullish bias here. Also that this move down was more, this first move down the other day was a 3-wave corrective move and not a 5-wave impulse. We could look for even a drop all the way down to 106.6, 106.7, 106.5. And that is the 382. The 382 acts as support resistance in a strong trend. It is in confluence with our macro value area high. So that could be a level where we bounce. Now, if we lose that level, once again, we'll just take that same Fibonacci pull and let's turn on the 786. 786 is at the value area low. And you can see on Bybit, the volume is just a little bit different. It is pretty much perfectly in alignment with the value area low of the range. And I would expect possibly a move down over the next week down to that 102.5 area if 106.5 does not hold. Now, we play level to level as traders. So right now we are at our most local support level, the value area high of the month-long range that we've been in. If we do not bounce here, we go down to the next level, which is 106.5. If 106.5 doesn't bounce, then I'm looking at 102.5. If 102.5 doesn't bounce, then yes, we probably are going to come down to the macro POC around 96.5 to 97K. that is what I'm watching for on Bitcoin over the next, weeks to days to like immediate time frame. If we look at our CVD and open interest charts, and I warned a little bit about this yesterday, we were seeing some bearish CVD build on the charts. You can see here on our CVDs, our open interest, our price action is making lower highs on the price action, but our CVD is making higher highs on the CVD, giving us some bearish CVD divergence. Now it's not absorption because our open interest is not clearly increasing here, but it is bearish CVD divs. And I did warn about this a couple days that bearish CVD divs could at least bring us down to backtest the 108K value area high of our last month-long range. So we are in the process of that right now. If we look at today's price action, the dump down of today after the CPI print pushed us up to grab yesterday's highs, you can see that most of today has been a drop in open interest, like a steady drop in open interest. So this is pretty much just late longers getting stopped out. We are seeing a bunch of late longers that longed up in the past few days here, the past week here, that are starting to get stopped out here. And this long squeeze to the downside could continue because we did see a lot of fresh longs come in. Let me go ahead and pull this chart. Actually, let's do the 15-minute time frame. And if we look at last week's price action, I did warn about this, that we could see a lot of late longers being trapped if we start to drop below that value area high. Because you can see here, it's very clear here, higher highs on the CVD, lower highs on the price action. That's bearish divs. But in this push up that we saw from 105 to 110, this area right here, we saw a lot of longs stepping in on the charts here. And actually, really that secondary push here, a lot of longs, a lot of fresh longs stepping in on the chart. So if we start to lose 108, which is pretty much where we're at now, a lot of these longs can get trapped underwater, giving us more fuel to squeeze to the downside pretty quickly. And I think we would squeeze pretty quickly down to 106.5. And then if 106.5 breaks, we're probably going to squeeze down pretty quickly all the way to 102.5. So Bitcoin is in a bit of trouble here. So far, it is holding on the bullish backtest. If we look at the Coinbase, and Coinbase levels is what I look at most, let's go ahead and zoom in here onto the 6-minute chart. You can see that we are seeing a bit of a bounce here on this value area high bullish backtest. Came down, finally hit the bullish backtest, finally grabbed our liquidity of our 3-day range lows. Now, it's ranges within ranges, right? Fractals, smaller time frame fractals of what's happening on larger time frames. So this is the range of the last 3 days. Then we have a range of the last month, and then we have a range of the last 6 months. So, yeah, Bitcoin is seeing some bull divs here coming on the chart, lower lows on the price action into our support level, higher lows on the momentum waves. You can see that NAMI here is printing a couple signs, a hidden bull div followed by 2 drives of bull div, but this is only on the 6-minute time frame. Money flow is coming up on the 6-minute time frame, telling me that there is a potential that 108.2 could hold. I would like to see 108.2 hold, and I would like to see us push up to at least break Monday's highs, that 886 of Monday's highs. We'll have to see how this goes. Now we have to watch for, now that our market structure is breaking bearishly, now that we took out these lows here on Tuesday, these range lows of the 3-day range on Tuesday, we do have to watch for continuation to the downside. Also, if we go ahead and pull a volume profile of just the past 3-day range from Monday's highs onward, you can see that we are below the value area low of that range. Not only are we below it, but we even, after losing it, we came up for a bearish backtest and had a very clean and harsh rejection of that value area low. So we are seeing a bounce at 108K from the month-long value area high, but there is a potential until we get back within inside this 3-day range volume profile, which is about 109.2, we could just reject from it again and finally see that bigger drop to 106.5. So it's going to be important. We can also pull a Fibonacci here from today's highs to today's lows. And let's look at our golden pocket. Okay, golden pocket is going to be coming in right around the point of control of that range. And the point of control is considered the fair value. So over the last 3 days, the fair value of Bitcoin has been considered around 109.5. And if we do, even if we break back within that volume profile just to reject from the point of control, we could see a bigger drop from there as well. So I'll be looking for a rejection around 1095, 1096. And if we do reject from that area, we could expect a bigger dump to 1065. Let's go ahead and look at our liquidity heat map. Let's go on to the Model 2. And you can see that at least locally, the majority of the liquidity is above us, which makes sense because that 886 tap, we had a lot of people short Monday's 886 tap. And then also the front run of that that on yesterday. Let's come back to our range and let's look at the last, let's come back to our liquidity heat map, excuse me, and let's look at the last month of price action. So this last month is pretty much that upper range. Let me go ahead and zoom back out on the 2-hour chart. That last month range, this range right in here. So if we look at the liquidity, the closest liquidity next to this ranging price action, let's go in here and you can see that it is above us. It's actually above the all-time highs, which makes sense because now that we've tapped the 886, we do have a higher probability to come up and take out our all-time highs. So that is coming in around 113.6 to like 113.7-ish. And we do know that if we go on to our bigger pitchfork here, if we look at our bigger pitchfork, oh, let me see, what did I just do there? Okay, and if we look at our bigger pitchfork, you can see that pitchfork band is going to be coming in depending on how long it takes to get up there. Well, 112.5 up to, and depending on how much time, up to potentially 113.5 where that liquidity is resting. So I am still watching for an SFP of the all-time high into our pitchfork band and a bigger rejection, but my bias is still on more upside for us to come take out the all-time highs and create a new all-time high, even if we do drop to 1065 first, or even all the way down to 1025. Like, we can still drop all the way down to 1025, maintain bullish market structure overall before coming up to that pitchfork band. And if we do drop to 1025, that will take some time. And then by the time we work our way back up to that pitchfork band, it is going to be in pretty close alignment with 113.5, which is where that liquidity is. So that is something that I will be watching for on Bitcoin. I am still looking for that SFP around 113K, and I am still watching now to see if we do drop below 108.2, then I will look at 106.5 and then 102.5. So that is it for today. I just wanted to make a quick update on Bitcoin here. I will make another video later covering some of the altcoins, but just wanted to throw a quick video out there on Bitcoin. Hope this video helps. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. We do have a few sponsors of the channel. We have BYDFI. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. No VPN required. No KYC required. They are offering people using my affiliate link right now some nice deposit bonuses. So if you deposit $100, you'll get a $50 bonus. If you deposit $500, a $100 bonus. You deposit $1,000, you'll get a $200 bonus. And then, of course, for the whales out there, deposit $5,000, you get $500. Deposit $10,000, you get $1,000. Deposit $20,000, you get $2,000. Now, this is free money in your account you can use to trade. So, very good deal right now. They are also offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you move in the market. And they're offering discounts on trading fees. Starts with a 17% discount, but you can get a higher discount on your trading fees depending on how much you deposit. Then it's MEXC is the next sponsor of the channel, partner of the channel. They're offering up to 10% cash back on your initial deposit and up to $20,000 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much you deposit. And then lastly, we do have NAMI, which is a new indicator that I'm using to help enter and exit trades. They are running a 50% off special for a limited time. Divine50 is the code. If you're interested in purchasing this, then the link is in the description as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you later.